Hi, guys, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Sanya. I am your Senior Support Specialist here to take you through the Client Dispute Manager software for today. So I do hope you are all having a good day. We're going to jump into training. I want to cover how to manage your employees. So we're going to talk about permissions, the whole works, how to add them in, how to take away some of the permissions that they have, and we're going to cover all of that. All right. So in a regular tradition, I just want you to go ahead, post it in the chats to let me know how your day has been so far. And you can also unmute if you wish and just say hi to everybody else to let them know and just to say hi. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Go ahead, post in the chat and let me know how you're all doing. You should be seeing my screen by now. And let me get my highlighter. Awesome. And I will get it out of the way. So of course, when you come into the software, this is going to be the first thing that you see. This is our home/dashboard screen. Here we have our customers overview. This just breaks down how many clients you have, what their status is. You also have the dispute process and their status, as well as the business growth. And of course, I always tell you that is important because you need to know how much revenue you have coming in. And whenever you see this little green pop-up box, this is just to let you know that we have something coming up. Hopefully you have this marked on your calendars for this Thursday. We will be having part 3 of the dispute letter training. You do not want to miss this. It's going to be at 6 Eastern time, 3 Pacific Standard Time, Central Time is going to be 5. So please mark it in your calendars so you do not miss that. All right. This is just a few of the topics that we'll be going through. Make sure that you click it because it's going to have a limited seats. So try to jump on that as soon as you can. Once you do that, Thursday at 6 with Mark, he'll be covering those topics. All right. And of course, you know, whenever you need to schedule a 30-minute walkthrough session, we want you to click on the personal walkthrough option. You'll be able to schedule a one-on-one session with you and one of our specialists. We also have the daily live training and the getting started videos. This is mainly for persons who are just coming in. We want you to have an understanding of what it is that you need to do when it comes to setting up the whole works and the flow. All right. All right. Awesome. Hi, Linda. Awesome. Glad that you are here. So I see a few persons on. Glad that you're here, Donna. All right. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about the permissions. You know that this is important when you add your employees in or your outsourcers. You need to control what functions they actually see. Now, on your home screen, or your dashboard screen, this customer search, remember this is also attached to your employees. We do have the option to see it. Of course, we're the admins, but remember that your employees, if you have given them the permission, they would be able to see the search option. So let's say, for example, you have restricted John from seeing your client, Sarah, but they would be able to, if Mary called, to be able to search for Mary to see what status this lead or that client is, and they'll be able to see who it's assigned to if they need to pass it on to that particular employee that is handling or who it's assigned to. So of course, that is a permission feature that is here. You can also use it for yourself. Sometimes we have a lot of clients and we need to search, but of course, this is mainly for your employees. Now, when we come in here underneath your company employees/outsourcers, yes, this also goes for the outsourcers. Remember that you have the option of adding in as many employees, depending on the plan that you have, to work on your client's file. Now, some of you also have outsourcers that is going to work in your system well, in their portals, and they would be able to do whatever functions you have given them access to. So I need you guys to know exactly how to do it, what permissions to give them. Also, if it is that you want them to get notification, what you would do, and this is the area that you want to come into. You want to go to company, and you want to go to employee slash outsourcer. So it could be a callback specialist that you have, a processor. The processor, of course, would stand in the shoe of the outsourcer. It could also be your billing team that you have added in there. So depending on what the role is, you can have them into your system. Now, remember that you have your employees information here. This is if you have added in your employees, you would be able to manage them in this particular area. You can give them active status. You can give them the option. Let's go ahead and edit one of these already existing employee that we have. We want to put the information in there. We would give them the role that we want, and then we also make them active. When we make them active, remember, an automated email would go out to that particular employee for them to verify the email so that they can log in and create their passwords. So it's important that if you are going to add in employees, you want to make sure that you are giving them the right roles, the right permissions. If you want them to get the notification email, you have to turn it on and then give them the right notifications that you want them to have access to. So this could be for your callback specialists, your processors, your outsourcers, whatever that role is, you would be adding them in here. Now, remember, when you make them active, they have 72 hours to go ahead and click on that link. If 72 hours have passed, you're going to have to send a new email to them for them to go ahead and confirm that email address that they have given you, so that you can have them log into their end, right? It's not your admin's end that they're logging into. They'll be logging into their end as the employee, right? So once you have put in the information, you've put in the role that it is, of course, we have our default roles, but you also have the option to create your own roles. You just need to come in and put that in there. Once you do that, you can make them active or inactive. It depends on what you're doing with that particular employee. Remember, here is the notification section. So if you turn this on, let's say this is my my processor, right? Whomever is active, they would be able to see. But let's take it a step further. We want them to be notified, especially if we have the permissions where whomever they're assigned to, that's who they'll see. This means that every active client that is assigned to them, they'll get that notification email to say, okay, this new client, active client, is underneath your portal, right? So of course, you have different notifications that you can give them. It could be that they are affiliates that have sent referrals and you want that employee to work on that referral. You have follow-up. This would most likely be for your processors or your outsourcers that are working on your files. No portal, you have the reminder emails, website lead, you have the client auto sign up lead form that they'll have access to, the completed customer, the suspended, the pending, the prospect, and the interviewer notification. So there are several different email notifications that you do want certain employees to get. It doesn't mean that they have to get it. You just need to decide, okay, which ones they're going to get. All right. So please remember that your employees, when you're adding them in, you want to give them the right permissions. You want to give them the right role. You also want to give them the right notification email, because at the end of the day, we want them to be on top of those clients or those leads that's coming over to us. So of course, please make sure that you are giving the right assignments so that they do know what to do when it comes to the employees, right? to the customers that they need to work on. Now, in this particular screen, you can save their files. Once it's saved, automatically an email would go out. So you don't need to go back in and send out an email automatically. Once they're active, they would get it in their emails for them to confirm that email and then create their passwords and the username and password, right? You can create the username for them so that they see the username, which would be good. And then they are just creating a password for themselves, right? Bear in mind, 72 hours, if that have passed, if that 72 hours have passed, that means that if they try to log in with that expired link, they won't be able to access. So you would have to go ahead and give them or create a new link for them to access to log in as the employee. Same as with the affiliate or with the clients. Remember that that gives them the option for the 72 hours. Of course, it's security reasons why you're doing that. Once they are able to log in, then of course they can start to work, okay? So remember roles, you need to create your roles. Of course, there are default roles. Remember the status. Let's say you had this client as active and you want to make them, not client, but the employee as inactive. All you have to do, come back, click this little pencil icon, and then you can change the status to inactive, right? We sometimes don't want to take out the employees because they might have provided notes and additional information on a particular client. This would affect the client's file if you go ahead and delete it. So please make sure that you have given them the options and the permissions that they do need so that when they do come in, they'll get those notifications. All right, so that is important for you to go ahead and do. Once you do it, then that should be good. Now, do I have any questions so far? Any questions? All good? Any questions for notification? All right. So I want to jump into, do I have a question? All right, no, I think we're good. Okay, so remember, once you have added your employees in, you can manage your employees. What you want to do, give them the right permissions so that when they come in, they will be able to access the files of the clients that you have them assigned to. Once you have done that, if you need to edit anything pertaining to that particular employee, you should be able to come in here and do that. Now, a very important part for you to remember to do is your permissions, your roles and your permissions, right? Let's say you have a team of persons working for you. You can create different roles. You could have a billing team, you could have a sales team, you could have a processor team, right? You can come in here and create the role of those particular employees that you have, right? Whether it's a contracted employee or this person's on staff, it doesn't matter. You can go in here and you can create those roles, put a description. The only thing that I would tell you to do, let's say you have 5 persons on your sales team. What I would do is to have sales team 1, sales team 2. So if I need to give certain permissions, then it wouldn't get confusing for me because I would be able to go in to say, okay, this is what I gave them, and then I can go from there, right? So bear that in mind. Some people, they just have one sub-admin, one processor, even though they have many processors working with them. But to make your process easier, have more than one roles, the titles rather, and then you can go in and change the permissions that you want them to have access, that specific employee to have access to. All right. Once you have done that, what I want you to do is to go into the permissions. Every time you create a role, don't just go and create the employee. I need you to go back. Once you do create the role, go into this little icon here, which is your permissions icon. And then from here, you're going to decide, okay, what functions do I need them to have access to? Now, of course, your dashboard, your billing, your company settings. There are a few sections you definitely do not want the employees to have. You might have a partner, of course, you can give them full access. Don't, I've seen persons do this. They just come here and they click all, and that makes an issue, okay? Don't come in here and just click all, because if you do that, let's say you have a partner and you want to give them full access, this might cause a problem if you click all, right? Because what it means is that you might have taken away some permissions that you shouldn't. You might have restricted them. You might have, you don't want to just click all, right? There is the option, normally we use it to clear out. Let's say we wanted to start fresh, to go ahead and choose the right ones that we want them to have access to. What we're going to do is we're just going to go down the line and give them, based off of what their role is, then I'll give them the permissions, right? So you have your affiliate referrals. Your affiliates referrals are the affiliates who have sent you leads for you to work on. Now, bear in mind that underneath here, they would be able to view, if you have checked the option, they would be able to delete, and you might give them access to move from the lead screen to go into the customer screen. Now, I need you guys to be careful, because depending on the role that you have given that particular employee, you need to make sure that you want them to be able to move that particular referral. Now, you also might want to consider who they're assigned to. So I would prefer, if it is probably the sub admin, you would give them the access to do all of this. Other roles, maybe not. All right. You also have the affiliates, the lead menu. You also have the quick lead. Remember, if they're adding in any lead, a quick lead would be on the home screen. The lead menu would be in the lead section here, and your affiliates, of course, would be here as well. So you need to decide if you want them to be able to view that, right? Not every employee needs to be able to view it. Depending on what their role is, probably they're the sales agent who's supposed to do the follow-up calls. The processor, I wouldn't necessarily give that, because of course you need to audit. Probably you need to assign who you want them to go to. So I would prefer if you do not give them that access for this, right? Billing, again, only a few persons need access to your billing. They only need access, if you're going to give access, try not to give them any delete option, right? They would be able to view, they'll be able to save, they'll be able to check the information. Probably they need to check on the forms, the check forms and all of that, right? You can give them the access, but not everybody needs access to this billing section, all right? Bulk print, of course, your sales team does not need access to it. Probably your billing team doesn't need access, probably just the processor. And if it is that you want to give them, I would just say the processors, right? Processors, outsourcers, you'll give them this access. Remember as well, in this case, you want to give them access here for the bulk print. Remember, if you have restricted them, only who they have been assigned to, they would be able to see if you have given them access to the bulk print. But if you gave them bulk print and you didn't restrict, they'll be able to see everybody, right? So you have to be careful what functions you actually give them access to when it comes to this part, all right? The option to assign roles is not showing up on. Okay. Tell me, go to company, you're in the company notification, the company employee outsourcer, and then click on the permissions / roles. Right here. Got it? Okay. All right, yes. So please look at all of the employees that you have. You might need to go in and check on the positions that you've given them, the roles that you've given them, and then probably you might need to distinguish what roles and permissions they have, right? So go in today, do your audits, check the permissions of what they have, and then go from there. This means that you might have to tell them that what they previously had, some of those functions would be taken away, but you need to be able to control what they have access to and to monitor as well what they do, right? So let's go back to the roles and the permission here. Let me go back. So as I stated, try to create multiple roles. Let's say you have a sales team made up of 10 people. I would list out all 10 because probably your head sales team member might need full access, and then the others, they need to be restricted. So it could be a case like that. Of course, you want to split the permissions that you are giving them. All right, I hope that made sense, especially for the bulk print. Remember, if you have given the access for them to view, but you did not restrict the customer, so this icon here, you did not restrict the customer. Restricting the customer means that whomever they're assigned to, that's only who they'll see, right? So if you have not checked this box, but you gave them access to see the bulk print, they would be able to see everybody, right? So if you have this checked and whatever functions you've given them, even though they have the access to see, it's only who they're assigned to that they'll be able to see. So don't forget to have this checked, especially if you don't want them to have access to all of your clients. Make sure that the restrict customer is checked, right? Please don't give access to export your CSV file. There might be a few cases where you would. Otherwise, from that, I don't want you to give them access to export your file. All right, deleting, exporting, no. All right. So let's go back up a little bit to the bulk print. Remember, if they're restricted, only who they have been assigned to when they go to the bulk print, that's only who they'll see. All right. Now, business growth statistics, nobody needs to have access to that. You can take it off. That does not need to be checked. Nobody needs to view it. So if the employee logs in on the homepage, that business growth statistics box, that overview box, they would not be able to see it. So please do not have it checked. This is just for your purpose, but some people, probably your partner, you might want them to see it. Otherwise, from that, I wouldn't give anybody else that access. All right. Now, for the client auto sign up, now you might want to give probably your webmaster or just a few people. You might want to give them access to view, to save, and delete, because if they're working to test your forms and they're making sure that everything lines up, you would want to give them these two access. So the client auto sign up, they would be able to go in there to do the editings, and the form itself, they would be able to do the changes that you need, right? Again, not everybody needs access to this. Probably for the forms, I wouldn't really give a processor or a sales rep that. The client auto sign up, it would probably be my sub admin and my partner, all right? For the client referral portal, probably you'd give that to your sales agent. Again, not everybody needs access to this. And of course, big no, nobody needs access to your company settings, right? So please bear these in mind. For the credit analysis, only who needs to work on the client's file in terms of creating the credit analysis, viewing it. If they wanted to, let's say they created something and they wanted to delete the credit analysis, or they wanted to download, then you can give them the access. You just need to go in and figure out what they need access to. What is the role? Figure out if they need it. If they don't give it to them. All right. Customer message, self-explanatory. Not everybody needs to have access. Some people will give the processors access to send a message out. Let's say they've just worked the file and they need them to call you, or probably to send over additional information or whatever it is. They would be able to do so from here, the messages, right? Now, the customer section, this part is important. You want to give access to view, to save, restrict. If you have restricted and you want the person to view, remember on the dashboard, there is the customer search. If you do want them to have access, of course, you can give them the access. It's not necessary, but you can, right? Especially if you have a lot of employees and there's a lot of clients, then you can give them access, because then they'll be able to, once they get a call, know who they need to route that particular lead or customer to, right? Exporting, as I said, I do not want you to give that out, because this means that they'll be able to export all of your customers from your system, right? So you just need to figure out if that's what you want to give them access to. Now, the digital contract, not everybody needs access to this. If you want, let's say the processor, or probably the person who's going to do the follow-ups, you want, or the sales team, to, if they get a call, if they get a lead, they would be able to, once the lead says, okay, I'm ready, go ahead and send me the contract. Yes, you want to give them access for them to send over the digital contract, right? So please let them have access to view, to save, to check. Probably not delete unless they have the capacity to create a digital contract. Otherwise, from that, I wouldn't give them the access to delete contracts. No, right? And then your dispute manager, processors, outsourcers, probably your admins and your sub admins and your partners, right? They might not need access to delete. They might not need access to respond. It just means that you have to delegate what you want them to have access to. Employees, no, probably just your partners and the sub admin, probably a manager or something like that. You'd need them to have access to this. Letter vault, that's the same. Not everybody needs access to this. You just need to go in, look at what is there, manage email. That's another section that I would probably have a lot of persons having access to the managed email, because if your sales team needs to send out an email, or your sub admin or your processor, whomever it is, need to send an email, then of course I would give them that, right? Manage portal content, no, I wouldn't give out access for that. Notifications, I wouldn't really give out access for that. Paper deletion, just a few persons. I would give access. Permissions, nobody needs access to your permissions or your roles. And then for the smart interviewer, just probably the processor would need that, right? Messages, text messages, depending on who is working the file. And if they're assigned, then they can send out message to that particular customer that's assigned to them, right? And then you have the training menu. This is the training section. Not everybody wants to give access to the employees. You don't have to. You can give them access to view and probably not to download the resources. But of course, it's up to you. You have to figure out if you want to give them that access, all right? And then the website lead form, again, this depends. For your webmaster, whomever is working on your website, you would want to give them the 3 options for the website lead form, for the client auto sign up form, and the client auto sign up option. All right, so bear that in mind. Now, let me just pause right here, because I'm going to go to the customer screen and show you how to assign your employees. But bear in mind that if you have an employee that adds in a customer automatically, that's going to go to that particular employee. Of course, you have full access to see it, even if you have restricted them to see other customers, you'll be able to see everything because of course it's your software. All right. So please keep in mind the different permissions. You don't want to give access where access should not be given, and you don't need to open up everything to them. You just need to go in, do your audits, figure out where you need to take away certain permissions. All right. All right, perfect. Now, do I have any questions about that we went over, or anything else for that matter? All good? All right, all right, all right. Troubleshooting. Remember that this part is important. And if you have an employee that says, oh, I logged in, I'm not able to see certain parts, yes, you can. I will definitely send you the replay. Send me your email address so I can send you this. All right. Remember, when the employee logs in, they're not logging into your admin's end, they're logging into their end, right? So when they log in, they might not see certain tabs. So of course, they don't need to freak out. You don't need to freak out, because whatever permissions you've taken away or you've given them, then that means that's only what they'll be able to see. All right. So please make sure once you have edited what you wanted them to see, go ahead and click save. Once you do that, then that means whatever is there, that is what is set, right? If you need to do troubleshooting where your employees are concerned, then of course, you just need to come back and check into this particular section, right? Again, not everybody needs this access. All right. Amanda, not Amanda, Amber, go ahead and unmute. Tell me exactly what you mean. All right, hopefully you have audio. Amber. Tell me exactly in terms of what kind of setup. Do you mean like your legal information, your contracts? Is it a case for your website? What exactly are you needing assistance with? Once you get the hang of putting everything in place, you just have to take it one step at a time. Did you start off with your getting started videos? I may have to schedule a session for you. All right, send me your email address and your phone number and I'll reach out to you afterwards. All right. All right, yes. Feb, yes, definitely, I'll send that to you, okay? All right, perfect. Guys, I want you to make sure that you're giving the right permissions to your employees. They don't need to see everything. A question that I get is if your affiliates have access to come in and do work, right? No, your affiliates is a little bit different from your employees. So your employees, your outsourcers, they would be able to come in, they'll be able to work the client's file, whatever it is that you want them to do. You will have some people who's just focusing on your billing part, just to make sure that you are on track with all of your clients that you have coming in. If there's any failed payment, then of course they need to follow up, send out invoices, do the checks on the specific days. Then that's what your billing team would do. You have your sales team. You could have your webmaster or whatever it is who does the marketing part for you. You might have that, right? No problem, no problem. That's okay. Just send me I got the email address. I'll just follow up with you when I send you the replay. Just tell me what day is the best time for you, best date and time for you, okay? And we can try to schedule a session and see where we need to go. All right, yes. So it's important to make sure that you check the permissions that I stated. Sometimes we have added in the employee, they state that they're not able to do something, just go back in the permissions. If you feel like you're stuck, reach out to us so we can figure out exactly what is happening where that is concerned. Now, when the employees log in, there might be tabs that's not showing, right? It could be a case that you have restricted or you have checked all of those boxes. Remember, if you do that, if they log in, probably the only thing that they'll be able to see is the home screen. Or if they log in, they'll only be able to see just one of the tab, right? So be careful with the permissions that you've given them. And then remember, you have the option to assign as well the notification emails that you want them to get. You can search, especially if you have a lot of client employees in here, you can search. You also have the option to track their time. You can come in here and look at all of that, right? So come in, look to see what you need to do, go in and see if you need to change certain permissions that they have. Try not to delete employees that's probably no longer working for you. Keep them inactive. Once they're inactive, they will not be able to access the software. All right. So your employees information, you want to put that in there, the permissions and the roles. Don't forget, create multiple roles, give them the permissions. When you come to the customer screen, if you have restricted them, restrict customer, that option, make sure that when you come in here, whomever they need to be assigned to, that's only who they'll see. So what you need to do when you come in here, right here where it says assigned to, let's say you have Jane, who is your processor, Mary, who is your callback specialist. You have another person who is your billing team. You can give multiple employees that particular customer, and based off of the permissions that you've given them, then they'll be able to work, right? So that's why I say I want you to make sure that you differentiate the roles that they have and then the permissions, and then you can give multiple employees to that particular customer, right? It doesn't conflict with what they see when they go in. They would only be able to see that it's assigned to them, right? So this part is going to show their name, and that's going to be grayed out. Depending on what permissions they have, certain functions they won't see at all, or if they try to do something, it's going to tell them that they do not have the permission. So you want to make sure that if you have given them certain permissions, if you have restricted them, then they would be able to check. Now here, I can look at this and see who I have assigned. So of course, you would be able to move around different employees to go to different customers, right? Again, don't give them the exporting option of your CSV file. Probably if you have someone who's doing your audits, you might want to, but otherwise from that, don't give them the option to export your CSV file, because this means that they can download all of your customers, all right? I prefer if you just keep this for yourself. Let me see if I have any questions. Any questions so far? All good? All right, perfect, perfect. So I think we're all good, right? So bear in mind, again, they log into their own portals, they don't log into their end. They would be able to create their task. They'll be able to see the reminders if you've given them the permission. When they log in, they can change their profiles or their avatar. They can put their information in there. That's their end. Your end is going to be totally different. I prefer, because I've seen the option where I've seen cases where you, the admin, have given your employees access to your actual accounts, right? I would prefer if you created them in as an employee and then you give them the permissions that you want, all right? If it is that, let's say, for example, they're on chat and we needed to do troubleshooting, we are going to tell them that they need to connect with you and have you reach out to us before we do anything else. Because if they're the employees, we don't know what kind of permissions you have given them. So we want to be careful where that is concerned. So please, if you have employees, try not to give them the access to your admins, and they would be able to, once you have created them in as an employee, to have access to their end. Depending on the permissions that you've given them, then you can do so. All right. So please bear that in mind. Then another thing that I want you guys to remember is the notification. It is important for them to be able to check, instead of having you having to go in and check all of the information. If you have given them the option to see the notification emails, that makes your job so much easier, right? So please make sure that you've given them the right permissions so that they don't have to do the back and forth. You don't have to do the back and forth, and they have ease of doing the functions that you have them to do. All right. Let me see if I have any questions so far. All good. All right. Anything outside of this particular topic? Remember, go to this particular screen. Every screen that you go to, there's going to be a training video there for you to watch, right? So please remember, watch the video if you're stuck or if you need to do troubleshooting with one of your employees. Preferably, we ask that you reach out to us. Even though you will have the employees reach out to us, they can. But if it's related to something that's permission related, you have to reach out to us. All right, please bear that in mind. Let me see. Deleting, don't delete. Only make them archive because inactive, because you don't want them to lose. You don't want to lose any files for them. All right. All right, perfect. When it comes to your affiliates as well, remember the affiliates, they will not be able to log in to this particular end. The affiliates, they would be able to log into their affiliates end. It does not look like how your employees would have access. So when the affiliates come in here, they'll only be able to send you referrals, send you messages, send you documents, see the commissions if you have commissions set up for them. But otherwise from that, they won't be able to work that particular client's file. Now, if you have given your affiliates access, remember that they would be able to log into the client's portal to see. I would probably give a broker or a realtor or probably a loans officer access. Otherwise from that, any other affiliates, I would not give them access to see the client's portal, because remember, that's sensitive information, confidential information. You do not want to give them access to that. I know for some of you, it's always important that you give them the permission that they need so that they are not, they won't have access to certain things. Remember, whatever permissions that you've given them, if you don't want them to see any other clients, you have to remember to restrict them. All right. All right, perfect. Do I have any questions so far? Any questions? Are we all good? All right, let me just check chat. Remember to send me your email address so I can follow up with you, and then we can go from there. And remember, you also have the option to go to the YouTube channel so you can see the replays. All right, and as well, the training videos for the credit repair meetings, you can go into the credit repair meeting section and view those. Now, another thing, for your employees, you might want to take away access for the training, right? Because I know I have gotten questions about if you would give access to your employees in terms of the training materials. I would say probably for the training videos, but otherwise from that, you don't want to give them too much access where that is concerned, right? They should be able to, if they want to schedule a session, if they wanted to talk to us, they should be able to do so. They would be able to go in depending on what you have them having permissions to, the notifications as well. This is connected to their emails. So please make sure that you have checked, do an audit to see if you need to create multiple roles, and then you go from there. All right. All right, perfect, perfect. I think that is gonna wrap up our session for today. Let me know if I have any questions before I let you guys go. All good? Amber, can I call you afterwards? All right, please let me know. All right. Okay, guys, so that is gonna wrap up our session for today. I think we are all good. Let me just check here. Yes, all right, so I'll call you after. Oh, send me your number, send it privately so I can call you after. All right, send it in the chat privately. Okay. All right, guys, so that is going to wrap up our session for today. I want to thank you as per usual for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I do appreciate it. And please remember to join me tomorrow for another session. And then later on, you're going to join Mark to talk about the part 3 of the disputing process. All right, you do not want to miss that. Invite someone out. Make sure you've marked it on your calendars so you do not miss that. Okay. All right, perfect. My name is Sania. I am your senior support specialist. It is always a pleasure to take you through the software and just to cover your questions. Remember, schedule a personal walkthrough so we can take you through if you have particular concerns so that we can cover those for you. All right. You do have a great one. You take care. We'll talk. Bye-bye. Take care, Lawrence. Bye, Crystal. Bye, Peter, Danny, Dana, no, Danta, Danny. You guys have a great one. You take care. Bye-bye.